you hate that moment when you play 50 hours of a game without knowing you needed a certain item to craft something vital that you've been leaving on the ground the whole time, or that there was a special item you could have been using to make your gameplay so much easier? We've all been there. In today's video, I'm going to equip you with the knowledge to make sure that you don't miss those vital items in 7 Days to Die. Let's jump in. There's so many skill magazines in 7 Days to Die, but what if I told you that there was a way to reduce the magazines you need to read to craft max level gear by 50%? That's right, the nerd outfit at level 6 will give you a 50% chance to get double skill points from every skill magazine you read. You'll need to get to 100 armor crafting the hard way first, but you can save your other skill magazines as much as possible until then to reduce the amount you have to find by up to 50%. And don't worry, armor books are boosted in your loot table when you put points into any attribute in 7 Days to Die, so statistically, armor is almost always going to be the first crafting skill you max out in every playthrough. Just hit those cracker books and mailboxes and you will save yourself a week's worth of book hunting once you make a nerd outfit at level 6. Staying on the theme of armor, you should also know that level 6 preacher gloves give you up to a 60% damage against all undead enemies with all weapons. They are undisputably the best gloves in the game, and almost everyone uses them all the time in combat because they are so versatile, doing massive damage against pretty much 90% of the enemies in the game. And it's not even just at level 6, each level does 10% more damage, so as soon as you can craft level 1s, you should probably just grab them to do 10% more damage. The only downside is that they are light armor and therefore have the least armor protection. This helmet mod is a source of limitless water in 7 Days to Die. Once you find one, just equip it on your helmet slot, and then with an open hand, press E on any body of water to drink it. You can just spam your way back up to 100% water. You're at no risk of taking damage or catching any diseases, meaning you can save all your boiled water for glue and better drinks. And if you're in a real pinch, it lets you drink murky water with no issues either. You can find water purifiers decently commonly in the end loots of tier 3 and higher POIs, or at traders, and they pair well with the next item, the humble iron bucket. The iron bucket can be used to collect water and place it down wherever you go. Collect some water with your bucket and place down the water again anytime, anywhere with a helmet purifier mod for a portable source of infinite water. But what if you want a drink item that's better than just murky water from a purifier? Well, luckily for you, the best drink item in the game doesn't even require water. The Yucca Juice Smoothie gives you 22 food, 78 hydration, and 11 health with 30 cold resistance, though that is probably a bug. It should probably give heat resistance considering the ingredients. It costs 4 yucca, 4 blueberries, and 1 snowball to craft, although you can make it cheaper with the Master Chef perk. You can find yucca growing wild in the desert, on cacti, or on these plants, and you can find blueberries in the snow biome along with snowballs, which you can dig up from the ground in the snow biome. This fantastic drink item gives you the highest hydration and even some food and water for no actual used water, and with very easily farmed resources like yucca and blueberries and very easily gathered snowballs, seriously, you can get thousands of snowballs in minutes. You'll have a fantastic drink. You'll need to gain access to the snow biome and up to level 27 on food crafting, but once you do, be sure to stack up on these fantastic drinks so you'll never suffer a stamina penalty again. But one thing to note is that it doesn't give you much stamina regen. For the best stamina regeneration you can get in the game, you're going to want to craft a lot of beer. This gives you a 40% stamina regeneration boost and is huge for when you're doing melee combat and running away. You will need volume 7 of barb rolling to get rid of the blur effect, but once you have it, make sure you're not wasting this drink item. It actually doesn't provide any hydration, but it does give you a 100% immunity to stuns, 300% extra damage with knuckles, and of course 40% extra stamina regen. It's pretty common in food loot, but if you want to mass produce it, you can farm it using hops. It requires 4 hops or 2 with Master Chef and 1 water to craft with again 27 cooking skill and a chemistry station. It's also used to craft first aid kits, fort bites, learning elixirs, moonshine, pumpkin cheesecake, recog, and steroids. So even if you don't want to drink it, farming it is a useful thing to do, and you should never leave it behind when you're looting. Another drink item you should never leave behind is Mega Crush, providing a healthy 60 water water. You may try to drink it for hydration, but that should be a last resort. You should be jealously guarding these energy drinks for their 6-minute boost to your run speed of 50%, which is a huge boost that can make some characters move faster than vehicles. Unfortunately, it can only be bought from vending machines for a tough 720 dukes, which isn't that much later on, but you're not buying stacks of it on day one, and it can also be rarely found in some loot. If you've got this, hoard it like a damn dragon because it'll save you if your hoard base fails. Something you can use to get a discount on purchases is the pumpkin cheesecake, a rare food item that gives you a 5% boost to your buying prices. This won't affect vending machines, but you can save money when buying from the trader, and that's going to help you buy more stuff in general. It requires 18 cooking skill, 1 pumpkin, 1 egg, 1 cornmeal, and 1 animal fat, along with 1 beer. So it's somewhat costly to craft, but if you're looking to buy something really expensive, it's definitely worth it to make sure you have one of these ready to go. One item I mentioned there was animal fat, and animal fat is harvested from animals, dead bodies, and gore piles, and you may have been foolishly throwing it away throughout your game. Stop that immediately. This semi-liquid, semi-solid gold is used in no less than 11 food crafting recipes alone, most of which are some of the best food items in the game. You will need stacks and stacks of this stuff if you plan to feed a whole multiplayer team or even just mass produce food in single player, so do not leave it behind. A similar item you may have been dropping or ignoring is rotten flesh. You should really stop that too. And this one's a self-report because I always forget to pick it up. Rotten flesh is used to make farm plots, fort bites, and hobo stew, and hobo stew is one of the best food items in the game, and you should definitely craft it if you can. In a similar vein, trust me, that's about to be the funniest joke ever, we also have blood bags. Do you get it? Blood bags are used to craft fort bites and first aid kits, but they are one of the rarest items in the game and are almost always the thing you'll have a hard time going out and actively trying to find. So when the game gives you a blood bag, make sure you store it away for later when you might want to craft first aid kits or fort bites. That's a lot of items so far. Let's take a snack break. Whoa, what are you doing? Don't eat the canned food. Canned food is non-craftable, so you should really try to hold on to it where possible because again, later on in the game, a lot of those canned foods are going to be used to make even more amazing food items, like how peas are used in gumbo stew, peppered spy, and tuna fish gravy toasts, 3 of the best food items in the game. Now, it's probably quicker to just tell you the canned food you can eat without caring, because they're not used in any recipes at all. Cat food, miso, pears, chicken rations, and chicken soup. Everything else, try to avoid eating unless you're absolutely desperate. Grilled meat is very easy to obtain, and these canned foods can be hard to acquire in large amounts later on, since they're only in loot or vending machines. And by far the best way to get a lot of it is by buying from the trader vending machines or trader rect. Otherwise, you're completely at the mercy of Lady Luck for finding more of them, which is bad compared to say meat, which you can hunt very reliably later on, and vegetables which can be farmed very reliably as well. You never know where that canned chili is going to come from, so try to eat the grilled meat instead. There's always another boar around the corner. While you're at those vending machines purchasing all the peas so that you can make better food later on, consider stocking up on the candies as well. Candy are magical vending machine only items that give you temporary, powerful effects with no downside. They're usually cheap and useful, but are limited by how infrequent vending machines are in the world. Oh shit's drops remove all fall damage and risk of breaking or spraining limbs from falling for 5 minutes. Atom junkies give you 50% more explosive damage for 5 minutes, which is absolutely massive for late game horde nights. Eye candy gives you 5 extra levels of loot stage, not the biggest boost, but it is worth noting. Jailbreakers give you a 100% chance to successfully lockpick any container in the game. Health bars give you 50% extra crit resist, which means you'll take less injuries in combat, and also give you 200% natural crit healing, which means that when you do get a critical injury, it'll heal twice as fast, and you'll get plus 10 health. Hackers give 20% extra salvage harvest for 10 minutes. Rockbusters do the same, but for mining harvests, and this does include trees for wood, by the way. Nerdtats give the user a shock radius of 1.2 meters for 5 minutes. This makes it so that the stun baton can affect more enemies at once. And sugar butts give 10% better prices for 10 minutes, which is almost always worth buying, so you've got some when you need to buy something expensive. Check your vending machines and stock up on these magical candies today. Some other fun cocktails exist to really help you out in 7 Days to Die, and you should make sure that you aren't leaving these behind in your med box either. Recog gives you 50% more range damage at the cost of 30 water for 5 minutes. These can also be crafted with acid, vitamins, beer and scrap polymer at the chemistry station. Fort bites cost you 20 water but give you 40% damage resistance, which is applied after your armor rating. They're best used early on when playing high difficulties and can be crafted with rotten flesh, vitamins, beer and blood bags. The next item comes with Urban Combat Volume 2, which is the cigar, which gives you 10% better prices at the trader and +1 strength. That +1 strength can be used to save up to 3 skill points from the highest rank of strength. It's not alone though. You can loot attribute boosting helmet mods from late game loot or buy them from the traders. Each one will boost their respective attribute by 1, but you can only have one of them at a time. But you can use the strength mod with the cigar, allowing you to save up to 6 skill points worth of strength for something else. If you're using a stun baton, make sure you get the stun repulsor mod, which causes stunned enemies to fly for miles away from you. It's very powerful. And the next item you should never leave behind is fire selector mods. Even if you already have a fully automatic weapon, you should put a full auto mod on the weapon because it gives you a 12% fire rate boost, plus the standard 10% damage bonus. The same is true of putting semi-auto mods on guns that are already semi-automatic. You should always put as many mods as possible on weapons and tools because it increases their damage by about 10% per mod, and make sure to get rad removers at some point. These remove radiated zombies' healing ability, making them much more manageable to deal with. Also, make sure to get a fireman's axe mod on your woodcutting axe so that you can harvest even faster at the cost of enemy damage, which shouldn't be a problem because axes aren't great on high difficulties or run speeds, so don't get too attached to using them as weapons if you intend to try harder difficulty settings. This one feels more obvious, but just to be absolutely sure that you're not wasting these items, if you ever find beakers or acid, do not drop them. You need a lot of acid for various different endgame items, including the chemistry station and the fuel saver, and the beaker is used to craft chemistry stations, and neither of these items are craftable, so make sure you do not lose either of these. And finally, for an explosive end, make sure you're making use of explosives. Molotovs and pipe bombs are game changers for early on horde nights and for dealing with wandering hordes, and contact grenades can wipe out entire hordes instantly. But make sure you give explosive arrows and explosive bolts a try at some point. These things are highly underrated in 7 Days to Die and are a really fun way to deal with horde nights. The things they can do to horde nights because of how fast they fire and how much damage they do, and since they scale with explosives and bow damage, disgusting. If you found this video helpful, why not check out a video where I rank all the armors in 7 Days to Die so you know which ones you should be picking up and working towards in your playthrough. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.